Hi, this is Senator Melisa Franzen with the weekly update, and this week we are hitting our second deadline in the legislative process, and a lot of committees are very busy processing bills, and I was able to have a hearing on one of my bills, which is a bipartisan bill for robotics hubs, or regional hubs, and this bill was heard in the Jobs Committee with Senator Eric Pratt, and we had robotics demonstrations from teams from Edina in the district and also from Prior Lake for Senator Pratt's district. We really wanted to put some funding together in a proposal to fund hubs where different robotics teams around the region can apply for these grants and be able to practice in a live field for robotics. So once you have a season where you build your robots in the K-12 system, if you have robotics teams in your school district, they have to practice somewhere. And our bill is establishing a public-private partnership where the state will provide some funding and leverage private funds and partnerships to build these hubs and build these field so teams can practice and collaborate. And the intent is that we continue to support STEM and that we continue to support the growth of these robotics teams all over the state. So excited about that. It's being laid over for possible inclusion, and more details, of course, I'll have on the newsletter. This week we'll hear more about the budget and the targets in the House and the Senate, so I'll also include some information about where things are at and our position moving forward as we move through this session. I also had a press conference this week on a bill that's also bipartisan, and it deals with student debt and with the loan debt crisis when it comes to students and the high amounts of loans they're graduating with. I'm a senator who is still paying off my student loans, so I live this personally. And our bill is establishing an advocate for student borrowers and making sure that we're not being abused, that we get information that we need, and that's easy to consolidate funds or scholarships and all the resources a student will need to really be an educated borrower and be able to finance their debt and finance their studies. So this advocate would be part of the Department of Commerce and will certainly work with financial institutions. And this bill does not change any banks or any financial institutions, but it would license service providers to be able to assist students moving forward. And I like to compare it to buying a house. When you buy a house, you usually work with one bank, but student financing can be a lot more complex. And there's a lot of different information that could be beneficial for students, and a lot of times it's really hard to find. So the bill has been heard in the House, and we're still looking to get a hearing here in the Senate. And then this week we also had on the floor debates on a few bills. One most notably is the hands-free bill, which deals with driving without distractions and without using a phone with your hands. And there's a long debate, and I'll have a summary of what it ends up being. We made some exceptions for religious exceptions when you are wearing a hijab and you have a phone on your ear, and just debates about how the practical nature of this bill will come to play. And we just want to make sure that people are safe on the roads when they're driving, and they're just focusing on driving, not on a phone call, not doing anything with regards to electronic devices. So the bill is a little different than the House. So we'll go through conference committee and we'll be able to move this forward. Again, a bipartisan bill, and looking forward to making that law pass in the Minnesota Senate this year. And lastly, I'll be part of the Your Legislators program later this week, and I'll put a clip on it as soon as I have it, just to talk with other members of the Senate about the things that are happening here. We do these little clips often for you at the end of the week, but there's a lot more happening behind the scenes. And if you have questions, as you all are welcome to email, call me. There's certain bills that people have been very open to express their concerns, and I'm always here looking and able to incorporate your concerns and answer any questions we can in our office. So feel free to stop by and say hi. Thank you and have a great week.